Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ernesto from Attaboy Cowboy, and today I'm recording in Cartagena in one of these beautiful alleys that the neighbors get together and decorate for the tourists. So it's the crack of dawn, and I want to record this because in about an hour, this is going to be shoulder to shoulder people drinking and eating lots of processed food, which is what I want to talk about. It's like people hanging out here in the alley and they're drinking at these bars. So oftentimes I get questions from people and they say, Doc, what is processed food? What does that mean? Well, there's basically two types. There's processed food and there's ultra processed food. Processed food is like the cavemen have been doing it since the beginning of time. They kill an animal, they cut up into pieces and they cook it. So they process it. Or when I go to the store and I buy vegetables, I cut them up and I make a vegetable soup. That's processing. They even sell food processors where you cut up the food. But ultra process is different. It's when you get a whole food, let's say like an apple or something or tomato, and you extract the most familiar or the most popular parts of it. You try to basically take out the best parts of it. And that doesn't really happen. Food is perfect. So as soon as you start trying to extract things from it to make these fancy foods you see in the store, you damage all the properties that would be beneficial to you. So it's no longer healthy for you. And a good example of that is recently I had some tenants move out of an apartment and they were vegans and they left all of this really good food in their freezer. It was untouched and it was like from Whole Foods. It was all really expensive stuff. They had like vegan, macaroni and cheese and vegan meats and vegan all sorts of stuff. So I thought, I'm gonna take it home and eat it. I don't normally buy stuff like that. I eat really simple. I just buy fruits, vegetables, and beans. That's about it. And I just make food out of it. So I thought I'd be enjoying something good. I ate all this food and pretty much all of it made me sick. And I realized when I was looking at the ingredients, it didn't have a bunch of chemicals in it, but it didn't really have any vitamins either because it's been processed. And remember, a lot of vitamins are heat sensitive. So once you start cooking, processing, with machines, it's gonna destroy a lot of the properties. Vegetables, when you cook them, oftentimes can lose up to 99% of the nutrients. Then people tell me, well, Doc, I steamed it. Well, steaming, you'll still lose about 90%. So you want to try to eat a lot of this stuff raw, but you can eat it cooked also because you still get benefits. You get fiber, and sometimes some vegetables or fruits like tomatoes, when you cook them, you get other properties that you wouldn't get when you eat them raw, or even like carrots. When you eat carrots, you get a lot of benefits. When you cook them, it converts the vitamin A to a different form, so you get different benefits. So I mix it. I eat cooked and I eat uncooked. But processed foods are different. You've extracted some of the properties that you think might be the best, and you put it in this packaging. And just keep in mind, pretty much anything that's labeled or packaged is probably not going to be good for you. Especially when you see stuff like gluten-free and low sugar and high protein. They try to change the food to make people happy. That someone will look at it in the store and they'll say, hey, this looks like it's going to make me lose weight, gain muscle, look more beautiful, etc. But that doesn't mean that's going to happen. Oftentimes, it's going to actually do the opposite. It's going to make your sugar spike and it's going to make you gain weight. In fact, they did a study on processed food versus regular food, and it's kind of interesting. They used lasagna, and they showed like if you went to the store and you bought a processed lasagna, a frozen one, and you cooked it and you ate some, versus if you bought the exact same ingredients and you cooked the same lasagna in your house, prepared it to eat, you are going to get about 50% more calories in there, and you're going to eat about 25% more right off the bat. So oftentimes processed food, they add more salt, they add more sugar, and those are stimulants, and they make you eat more. And they add a bunch of other chemicals. So even when you eat a lot and you eat something that's high fat or something that you think might not be good for you, like lasagna, if you cook it at home, it's still going to be much healthier for you. So when I have an urging for pizza, I go buy pizza dough already made and I make my own pizza. And again, I'm going to get a lot more health benefits because I'm going to put more vegetables on it. I'm not going to add sugar to it. I'm not going to add salt. It's just going to have natural ingredients. It's going to be much healthier. But even if you added salt, sugar, all the same stuff that that processed pizza or that lasagna has, you're still going to eat 25% less, and you're going to get about 50% less calories. So it makes a big difference. If you're eating processed food, even if it says it's from Whole Foods or some other health food store, it's not going to be good for you. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at ultra processed foods. You want to avoid them because they're not going to give you any special benefits. There's not going to be anything magical in it. It's going to make you eat more and gain more weight. Another thing they found in this study is its effect on your hippocampus in your brain. When you eat healthy food, whole food, it causes your hippocampus to actually grow bigger. And this happens on a daily basis. That means that you are smarter, you have less mental illness, less anxiety, less dementia, less depression. If you suffer from psychiatric problems, it's going to exacerbate all those symptoms, those psychiatric symptoms. And your hippocampus is actually going to shrink when you eat processed food. And they found that children, when they eat these processed foods, it can have permanent brain damage and make their hippocampus permanently smaller for the rest of their life. So it's going to affect their intelligence, it's going to affect their behavior, a lot of things like that. And I notice when I walk around the mornings, I see a lot of kids drinking soda, eating Cheetos, Doritos. That's really bad because it's going to have lifelong problems for them. It's going to affect their performance in school. And it can also affect their behavior in the classroom, cause more, problems with attention, which is not what you want. You want the kid to pay attention, obviously. So when you're thinking about eating ultra-processed foods, consider buying it and cooking it yourself instead of trying to extract it, because you're just not going to get the same benefits from that. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is to avoid ultra-processed foods or to eating processed food like in the street, like snacks and stuff like that. An easy way to get around that is just cook extra. I normally, when I cook dinner, I cook an extra amount and I have leftovers. I store it and the next day I pack it for lunch. That way I'm not having to go out and buy stuff in the street when I'm real busy, and I can avoid processed food. Studies show that when you eat processed food, it damages your brain and it causes more depression because a lot of the chemicals that are in it are not good for you. So there's another reason to avoid processed foods. So thank you for watching, and from Cartagena, this is Dr. Ernesto. Thank you. Goodbye.